Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 57 Talk of Fame podcast with your host, Caitlyn Lackie. I'm so excited to have on a model, singer, and actress, Caitlyn Lackie. Thanks so much. Come on, Caitlyn.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So you're an actor. What made you want to start doing that and being in this industry?
Honestly, I think it was because I feel like as people, we kind of put ourselves in these boxes. Like you can only be like this one thing, or you can only be like pretty, or you can only be smart, or like these types of categories. And I hate being put in a box. And I was like, I have to get out of the box because everyone knew me first as like a singer, because I always used to post covers like when I was like 12, like 10, on my Instagram, and then everyone knew me as that, and then I was like, I have to get out of it. And then I like started modeling, and then everyone was like, she's the model. And then I think because I never wanted to get into acting before, and I was like, I would be so bad at it, it's gonna be so like terrible, I can't act. And then over the summer, one summer, I was like, my mom was like, Caitlyn, there's like something going on. And it was like defending Jacob. And she was like, do you want to try it as an extra, get your foot in the door, see how you like it? And I was like, yeah. And I loved it. And it was amazing. So honestly, I have no idea.
Yeah, to be honest with you, like I had no idea how I even started this whole thing. Like this, I literally started this podcast with no idea what I was doing. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna start a podcast, and this came straight out of nowhere. Like I was like, okay, well, I'm doing a podcast, and the first episode, I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, okay, well, I listened to podcasts before. It seemed easy, and once I first started, I was like, okay, this is hard. Like this is really, really tough. But then, like it's something that I never really anticipated of doing, because like at first I was always like a sports kind of girl and like you knew everything about sports, and it became an industry, so I kind of focused on learning about all those things, and people like always kind of knew me as that, and I'm a twin sister, so they knew me as being a twin, and so I was always in a little box centering that much twin. I was like, I don't want people to know me as a twin anymore, because my brother is very popular, so everyone knows him in where we live. And so I was like, I don't want to be known as a twin sister, my brother. I want to be known for something else. Like I don't want to be in the little center of the box, like you said, because I really hate being in the center of a box, center of attention, and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm sick of it. I need to do something about it. And so like 3 months later, I literally started my podcast. I still don't know what to do, to be honest with you, but it's been a crazy ride, to be honest with you.
No, yeah, that's like, it's so crazy. And especially like you starting this, it's just such a powerful thing. Like, it's so powerful. Like, this entire, like, your message and everything. Like, I am so incredibly honored to be here right now.
Oh, thank you. So you got to play in a film called The Heaven Project. What was that experience filming that?
So I didn't really know, because every experience on set is super different. And this particular experience, because I knew we were going to get like IMDb credit for it, and I was like, that's kind of nice. And being there, I was in like a couple of the scenes, and I remember like the behind the scenes part of it. I remember meeting someone that I had previously met on a different show that we filmed, which was also like defending Jacob, so it was someone that I like ran into after too, that I was like, oh my goodness, like it's you. And she was like, it's you. And it was just a kind of like a crazy like moment for both of us. But that was honestly, that was pretty fun. Like sitting there, and we didn't even have to really do a whole lot, but just like we sat there, and then they were like, rolling, action, and we're like sitting there, and we have to act like we're like surprised or like whatever, and they like give us these cues, and then watching everyone else and like having to interact with everyone else, like in the audience, but like not saying anything.
Oh my god. You're just sitting there just looking around like, oh, all right, this seems cool.
Yeah, so like that's like, I think that's, I mean, kind of the strangest part about it in a way, because you're like, I have to do like facial acting and I can't say anything, but like I have to act like I am, and then everyone else is acting like they are, and it's almost like everyone's like trying not to laugh in a way.
Yeah.
Because you're all just like looking at each other and you're like, oh my god. Like, and it's really funny. But I don't know, it's just like work. And I didn't
like
know
a lot of work to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, it's sometimes it's a little difficult because there's like longer days than others. Sometimes you stay later than you intend to. Sometimes it's shorter than you intended to, and you like show up and they like don't use you at all. Like one time it was like the very first, might have been the first, might have been the second time that I was like an extra, because I was like, oh, okay, extra work is kind of fun. And so I was on an HBO show. I don't remember what it was, but I do remember that I was as an extra, and I was sitting there. We were in New Jersey, and we all the extras were in this one room, and I was studying for my bio test because I was like, I am not gonna pass this test tomorrow. So I was in there studying for it while I was waiting to get called. And we sat there for like 6 hours.
Oh my god.
Like just sat there, and then like one of the last moments they were like, okay, like you guys can come in now. And so we went in. I kid you not, 30 minutes we were in there for, and then we got to leave. We acted 30 minutes and we weren't even in it.
Oh wow, that's insane.
Yeah. But like it's like stuff like that, and then we got paid the whole time we were there. But it was literally 30 minutes that we acted like in a backyard scene type of a thing with everyone. And then, I mean, I got to meet Clancy Brown though.
Oh, what's better than that though? Like, what's better than that?
Right?
Seriously. Like at least something good came out of it though. So waiting 6 hours.
Yeah, so I can like say I like met Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, or like, oh, well, at least I got something good experience out of this or something.
Yeah, totally.
But before the pandemic hit, you got to model for New York Fashion Week. What was that experience being behind the scenes of like the whole Fashion Week type of thing?
I feel like doing it when I was younger, it was definitely a different experience than now. Before the pandemic, I feel like before and after, like it's sort of similar in a way. Like now, I mean, we don't really wear masks, but there's still like precautions that everyone obviously takes.
Yeah.
But before, because I was younger, I was like 14, 13. And I remember I was always the youngest. I still am usually, but now I find more often than not there are kids younger than me. But usually I was always the youngest, especially getting into the industry when I was like 12. And my first fashion week, I was so overwhelmed because I had no idea what to expect. But once I did know, and I kind of learned the gist, like, okay, this is what you bring and pack all the time. These are your essentials. You keep a model bag, and you keep like everything you need for model bag. I have like 10, 12 different tank tops that are all black. And then I have like different variations of white tank tops and like white tops and like t-shirts. And then I have like different black leggings and black jeans, and because you never know what to expect or what they want you to wear. And then there's like different heel combinations. And then, but like internally, I always felt like all of the older girls would always kind of look down on me, and they would always kind of like, everyone always sizes each other up. I feel like, and it's like it can be a really toxic environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially for like a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really realize a whole lot. Like this one time, oh my goodness, one time a woman, we were shooting for a makeup school, and this woman came with her daughter, and I think she was older than me. She was about a year or 2 years older than me. I was about 12. I think she was maybe 13 or 14. And her mom was like, see, you have to model like that. You should be like that. And then I was like, I don't know what to do right now.
You're like
I'm like,
speechless. Like, what am I supposed to say?
yeah. And I was like, like, if you say, like, it's different saying, like, oh, model like that to, oh, see, you can take some pointers, or like, maybe try this next time, or maybe try that. Like, maybe get some inspiration from her. Like, she was like yelling at her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like in front of everyone. And she was like, no, you need to be more like that. You see what she's doing? You should do more. And I was like, I don't know what's going on right now. I'm kind of scared.
You're like, God help me, please.
Yeah. Or there'll be like older models that will like size you up too. And you're like, I don't know what's going on. But like sometimes they are, I feel like it has a lot of stigma around it, as does like everything else. But I don't know. Walking, it was just it's a different experience than it is now. It definitely was. Now I feel like it's definitely more, it makes me feel more comfortable,
Yeah.
because I've also like, I'm more of an extrovert in that sense
Yeah.
now. And like, I feel more open to criticism or to other people, and I have a thicker skin.
Yeah.
So that's definitely changed a lot. But yeah, sometimes people could just be really, really mean. And I did not realize just how mean people could be sometimes. And I was like, that's like, it just opened my eyes to a completely different world. And I was like, this is nothing what I would have expected it would be. But good and bad. Good and bad.
Yeah, and truly, like that's kind of how I was. Like once I started off in the industry, where I was like a young kid, asking myself, the whole world was like fireflies. Everyone's nice. Like, oh, these little stupid things in my little head, and I'm like, oh, and there's no like negativity. And like, I was like, got older, I'm like, Kylie, what were you thinking? And like, there's like, I got bullied so much. There's so many mean people that say mean things, especially in this entertainment industry. Like you get judged for who you are, the way you look, and like so many things. And that's really hard to just once you start off in this industry. And that's the one thing I learned, is that like you don't take it personally. If they actually want you to do better on something, then like try to do better. Like it's not something hard. Like it's hard, but not that hard at the same point. And so like it's just like it's really a hard place to be in, no matter what industry you are in. It's very hard. No, it means like even if you're a model, actor, journalist, no matter how hard it is, there's always gonna be mean people out there saying like, oh, you should ask this question or whatever it is. It's always a lot of mean people out there, which is kind of harsh, but you know.
It is. But I don't know. I feel like it's less of like, as I kind of grew through it, I was like, I feel like it's less of like what they say and more of how you react to it that I
Yeah.
didn't realize. And I was like, huh, like they can't get to me if I don't let them get to me.
True.
That's a new aspect. And of course it's always like there's always going to be criticism and hate on social media, because it's social media and everyone thinks that they know everything about you when they know nothing, and they only know what you show them, which is like, oh my god.
Which is pretty harsh, I would say. You know what I mean? Until you actually meet the person, then you're like, oh well, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like you actually know about the person. Like not everything on social media is true. And most like things that come on the news and like press and all things, half of them are false, more than probably true. So you shouldn't really believe everything you see on social media, even if you think you might not know everything about a person. Like half of the things you're probably reading about the person are probably not true. It might be like old news or it's not true. So I'm like, that just don't read Don't read everything or don't believe everything on the internet.
Definitely not.
Yeah, sure, yeah. And like, do you have anyone that you looked up to as an actress or a model, or just kind of in general?
I feel like my mom.
Your mom?
Like, yeah, I feel like I just really look up to my mom in the way that like she's always been very driven, and she's always been very hardworking, and I've always been like, I really like how driven she is, and I like how like powerful she is, and she doesn't let anything get to her, and she's just like a powerhouse. And not to mention her and my best friend Gabby, she's definitely a huge inspiration for me. I feel like, yeah, I just like to really surround myself and choose who who I follow too on Instagram and like on like TikTok or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
very carefully, because I like to, because whatever like you kind of show and like feed your brain in a way is like who you are, like it makes up who you are as a person. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'm only going to kind of surround myself with people that I find that are I like that just like fit with me and my ideals and my passions. And I like to like follow like on TikTok or something, like just real people
Yeah.
who just don't care. Like I love Madison Bailey.
Oh, me too.
Love that woman because she's just such an icon, and she literally does not care about what any singular person thinks except her. Like her,
Mm-hmm.
Cat Graham, like absolute icons. And
Mm-hmm.
Cat Graham especially, she also is like she's a humanitarian. Like she wants to help people, and she wants to use her platform for like for a good space and to help build people up and help like confidence and to show them like social media isn't real. Like,
Yeah.
and I love that message, and I love people like that,
Mm-hmm.
and I love people who are just like very like confident in themselves, and like who just kind of like who aren't afraid to show the world like who they are.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm the same exact way. I only follow like people that like are like kind of in our environment. That's kind of think, oh, I don't know if this person's right for me to be in my head. Like, or does someone follow this person because like they seem like a little toxic or something. Like,
Yeah.
you should really surround yourself with like people that you feel most confident with. Like, kind of see, oh, I want to kind of be like this person, or I think what this person is doing is pretty cool. Like, people that kind of you connect with in some type of way. You think, oh, this person's awesome, I'm gonna follow them. But social media is like something you kind of wish it exists. Then at one point you wish it did. But then, like, at the same time, social media, like, you wouldn't be able to connect with your friends, really, or family if it wasn't for social media. And so, like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of pros and cons to social media, but definitely hating and bullying is the most hateful part of it. And it's hard for everyone, no matter how old you are. It's very hard. It's so hard for me, depending. And so it's a very like a everywhere on social media, no matter what platform you're on, is toxic. No matter what app it is. And, like, there's always gonna be people that's gonna be hating on you or giving you support or whatever it is. There's always that one group of people that's gonna be hating on you. So you have to like really put yourself through that.
Yeah, and you have to like learn your own way how you can deal with that. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. Like, and especially like what you do and everything too. Like literally, like you said, like anything pertaining to social media at all in any aspect in any way, there's always going to be like at least like that one person who will just keep like watching your every move. And
Mm-hmm.
especially like I think people confuse um like their, how do I say, like the people that really don't like you, I'll say it
Yeah.
like that, or not even don't like you, that are jealous of you, they're going to be the ones who are constantly stalking you and are constantly trying to say something about you and everything. But in reality, like they're just genuinely, they're jealous of you, and it's not a you thing. Like
Mhm.
I think that is so, it's so hard to realize,
Yeah,
but
it
it's
is.
never on you. And the people that are constantly coming on your social media to talk about you or to say whatever or to stalk your socials and say anything about you, it says way more about them than it does about you.
Yeah, it's just like it's nothing personal. They might be going through something that like they're jealous about and trying to take it all out on you. That's why I kind of learned personally. It's like when someone's hanging on me, and people always say they're jealous of you, but still, it's kind of hurtful on our end a little bit. Absolutely, like it's very hard. It's something I learned. But then at the end of the day, they're just probably jealous or just kind of wish they were like you. Like if you even which if you were, it might be. I don't know why I keep yawning for some reason, but like people, like he, like they're just jealous of like if you want to be an actor, they want to be an actor like you. It's just like it's not that hard to become an actor. If you want to become an actor or a singer, it's not that hard. If you want to be like your idol, work hard. If you want, it's all about working hard and see what they do to be where they are. It's just look up some research and just kind of think about it a little bit. Just like think about what you're getting yourself into and what to do to get where you want to be. That's where the hardest part is. It might take a lot of work, absolutely, but then at the end of the day, it's gonna be worth it at the end of the road.
I completely.
And so, like, what is some advice for a younger generation to be like an actress or a singer or model one day?
Honestly, I would say any advice for anyone who would want to do it, just go for it and like put your all into it and put everything that you have and just go for it. Like don't hesitate, don't wait on anything, just do it. And there's gonna be really hard times and it's gonna be tough and you're gonna have to really really fight for it, so you're gonna have to make sure that you want it enough. And but those hard times make the good times even better,
Mm-hmm.
and without the hard times you wouldn't be able to have any of the good times. So I would just honestly say like really just like work hard, and if you don't, you're not going to get the desired result in a day, in like a week, in a month. You might not even get it in a year or 2 years. You might have to wait a long time for it, and you might have to wait for like your lucky break. Like I heard one time um, from a Disney, ex Disney producer or agent, that I went to one of her acting classes, and she told me that Dove Cameron went on hundreds and hundreds of casting calls before she was even booked for, I think it was like a supporting role. She didn't even get like, before she even got a lead role. Like it was hundreds and hundreds of like auditions she went on and everything before she even, that's Dove Cameron.
Yeah, like she's like a big star to us today. Like to think like there's always a hard process to get where you are. Yes, like she was basically struggling before she even was basically known to our generation today, but she was basically our generation of acting. Like she was all over Disney Channel, like Liv and Maddie, like all those things, and basically was a big part of everyone's childhood, no matter how old you are. And so, like, you think that, like, to see anybody struggling, no matter how big you are, how old you are, just how old you are, no, there's always a struggle. Like, yes, it might take like hundreds, thousands of auditions. It might take years. So, like, I'm trying to find a word to it. To trying to find your fit and try to get to where you are and try to work on things. Is if you don't work on yourself or anything, then you're not gonna go anywhere. It might like if you don't want to work that day or it's too lazy, that's stay. Like everyone, that's fine. Like everyone has those days, and so
Yeah.
like it's always you always have to work daily, work on something, emails, like find an agent, like do whatever you need to do to try to get big. It's just always a process, and there's always something you can fit into. There's always, you can always find a way.
Extreme. Yeah, exactly. And also growth too. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would say also be very open to growth and to change, because you literally cannot get anywhere without changing and growing. And maybe you're like, okay, this one thing isn't working for me, so maybe I'm going to try it this way, or maybe not this thing, but maybe that one. And also probably don't be too hard on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like too, because I feel like especially in the entertainment industry or anything like that, like I feel like we are always very critical of ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and like every single little thing. And I think we need to try to unlearn that a little bit,
Yeah.
in the way that, like, don't be too harsh on ourselves. Like, it's okay to be like, okay, well, we're gonna do this and we're gonna, you know what I mean, we're gonna stick it out.
Mm-hmm.
But having, like, you don't have to be on all the time.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be doing something.
Yeah.
Like, you need to take a day for yourself too. Like, take a day for yourself, you know, because I get
Yeah.
it, because burnout is such a real thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like, it literally drives you crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would honestly say, like, perseverance, definitely work really hard, and don't be too hard on yourself. And just remember that, like, if it's something that you really want, and if it's something that you know, like, you're like, this is what I want to do, then, like, do it. Like, this is your sign right now. If you're like, do it. If
Yeah,
you want to
just do it.
do it.
You know, like, I'm like, my sister literally told me a couple of days ago to really try to take a break and enjoy life, because I literally like work my ass off every single day. And like, I literally the next morning I would just be burnt out. I'd be tired, and like I'd be like I don't want to do anything. I want to sleep. I just want to watch TV, Netflix. Like I want to just spend a day in bed. But who doesn't like that? Like, you know what I mean? Like I literally can watch like Grey's Anatomy all day. Like I don't care. Like I can literally just do that. Sometimes I just cancel interviews or just cancel my plans to just watch Netflix or something. It's like it's just sometimes like you feel burnt out, and like everyone feels burnt out in every single way. No matter if you're working like 24 hours a week every day, like no matter how hard it is, you always will get burnt out, and it is difficult. It really is. Like I'm always literally tired every single day because I literally stay up until like 10:30 at night working my ass off. And so like it really is like a very harsh thing to think about if you really think about it. This entertainment industry is a very hard place to be in. And so like it's just you need to really work hard to really want to be, because that's really the key where you want to be. And so like the final question is, you're very passionate about body positivity. What made you want to be so passionate about
Well, I think it kind of stemmed from a lot of my friends being younger. I think one of the one of the many things was growing up, I always like kind of had implanted in my mind that like the word fat was like bad,
that? Yeah.
and that you shouldn't use it, or you shouldn't use it to, I mean, you shouldn't call someone fat. I mean, that's obvious, but you shouldn't say like someone is fat, or you shouldn't say that about yourself, or like something. And then being a kid, always hearing like people either like saying it just to say it, or like about themselves and being like, I'm so fat, I'm so fat. But it was always used in a very negative way.
Yeah.
And I feel like I think it was like 2 years ago, I started thinking about it. I think it was like around like over quarantine, and I was like, well, like, because I started like educating myself on a lot of different things over quarantine, and I was like, well, why do we say that it's a bad thing? Like, why are we calling it like a negative? Why does it have a negative meaning? And I feel like now, like knowing what I know, I'm like, it's a descriptive word,
Yeah.
like, or like anything else. Like, your hair color is brown, or it's black, or it's blonde. like it's the same type of a thing, but the only difference is we make it negative. And
Mm-hmm.
having like growing up around people like calling themselves fat when they are super super thin, which obviously like there's body dysmorphia and there's like stuff like that, but like
Mm-hmm.
I know some people would say it for like attention sometimes.
Yeah.
And you there's like, well, there's certain people that would say it for attention, and I would be like, and I was probably guilty of doing that too, because we were like 9. um but I remember like stuff like that, and I was like, well, why do we? And even now sometimes I feel like people, they always place that negative word on themselves, and they're
Mm-hmm.
always like, I'm fat, like meaning it's a bad thing. And you're like, and then people have the need to be like, no, you're not, you're so skinny. And so the word skinny is then placed into a positive category. And but like that is so, it's so messed up,
Yeah.
because what are you teaching? Like, that's, I love to change the narrative, and especially on that word, I feel like we need to work harder to change the narrative on that, because especially with like, what are we going to teach like our children, like when we're older, or like our younger siblings? Like, that is so unhealthy
Mm-hmm.
so many ways, because not everyone is built the same way, and not everyone has the same like metabolism.
Mm-hmm. True.
So many different factors that go into it. And if you're overweight, you're overweight, and if you're underweight, you're underweight. Some people are thin, some people are fat, and that is perfectly okay, and that's fine. And I just, it's like, but it's like little stuff like that. And I know so many people that do have body image issues. And I mean, I've had a lot of body image issues, especially being so young, like in the modeling industry, or just being in school in general. Like, it definitely doesn't do any good.
Mm-hmm.
But I know like male friends of mine, and my female friends, like, and it's just like, it's hurtful to me to see them hurting because of the way that they look, because they don't think it's socially acceptable, or they don't think that their body is like the social standard of pretty or of perfect. And it doesn't have to be,
Mm-hmm.
because we have always, for like centuries, we've always lived with this standard of like beauty in general. And why does that have to be the standard?
Why does this still have to be a thing?
Why,
Like,
right? Like, why can't you be like Lizzo?
yeah.
Lizzo,
Yeah, Lisa.
absolutely stunning. I love that woman. She's an
Mm-hmm.
amazing human being. Like, her worth is not based on what she looks like. There's so much more to her than what she looks like. And people base it all on the outside. And like, it's just, beauty is not skin deep.
Mm-hmm.
It's
True. Like they what Lizzo is doing. Like she is literally saying like I don't care how big I am. Like you have to trust what's on the inside, not the outside. Like if you don't like me for who I actually am now based on my body weight, then let's go like do something else with your life. Like that's
exactly,
something that people need to see more. Like
yeah.
you shouldn't care what other people think. It's your body. You need to realize that you should fall in love with the way you look. Like you're
Right.
beautiful in your own way.
Yeah, and it's your home, like, and I feel like eating, I'd say sometimes, is like a rough topic for a lot of people, including myself sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just important to try to remember, like, you're nourishing your body and you're feeding it, and you are taking care of her,
Mm-hmm.
and it's your only body. Like, you got to take care of her, and you got to do what's right for her. And sometimes things that people who look nothing like you, they're not going to do the same things that you do, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And I think it's just it's just such a huge issue. And so many people, like, I guarantee you ask literally every single person, and they have all struggled with some type of body image issue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's huge because no one talks enough about it. Not to mention, there's all of these apps that can literally change your appearance.
Yeah.
Photo, like you can completely Photoshop yourself to look completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you have to fight the urge to do that, and sometimes you give in. And I I mean, I used to do it when I was 12, I think, because I was like, I used to get made fun of a lot because I didn't have a butt. And now I'm like, I could care less.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I've grown to love the body that I'm in, and it was a rough little journey, but we're still working on it. But I am way more acceptable and accepting of what I look like. And I think that makes it easier for me to accept a lot of other things. And accepting what you look like is like the first step
Mm-hmm.
to confidence. It's the first step to a lot of different things. And I think loving yourself though on the inside first, that is the first real step that you can really take. And that completely changed the game for me, was just genuinely like finding stuff out about myself, and then learning to love who I was. And then from there, I could start to love all of the things that I used to hate.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to, that I was like, no. And then I remember one time, one of my good friends, Sarah, she was like, I love your nose. And I was like, thank you, because I used to hate it. And like, she literally said that one thing, and it completely changed my perspective. And then I was like, I like my nose. Like, but it's like stuff like that, and you grow up to only love like this one standard and this one nose and this one face shape and this one body, and it's not at all real. It's
Mm-hmm.
not real. Like, the beauty standard is not real.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's made up by people that are just like, oh, this should be the beauty standard. Like, whoever came up with that is my question, because that's
Yeah.
so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to have like this, like you're supposed to have this butt, and you're supposed to like have like this waist, and you're supposed to like look this way. And it's just so, it's really stupid.
Yeah, really it is. Like everyone is dealing with that. Like every girl feels has like any self-confidence about how they look, or like my weight I should be this big. My body should be this big. Or they all everyone feels that way. Like everyone feels conscious. Even about me, I felt conscious about how I look and like how I basically how my body was. And I was like, as I got older, I'm like, why am I thinking about like people like as you get older you like regret thinking about that, all the negative things about your body is kind of stupid. You think you should like literally love yourself, and that's kind of how a woman in the industry is. Like it's kind of hard because you're being sexualized, like people are telling you shouldn't look this way. That's kind of really hard about being in this industry, is that you're being treated like this way. And like you should learn not to really care about what they think. You should really care about like, oh, like your what you really personally think. Like if you love the body the way you are, if you really love the way you look and your body is and your personality, don't change that. Like if you want to be different, be different. Like you can change. Like you don't change yourself based on what other people are saying. You're basically jealous of basically how you look, and they just want to be that way. Because don't listen. That's where I used to be if I used to listen to other people. And and now I think about like, why did I listen to those people? Like this, you just make you feel worse about yourselves, and that's really the worst case scenario, is to let people take over your day and just ruin it. And like that's like something like a lot of people are still working on. And like it's a big thing. People need to start to sit down and think like, why are my actions like this? Why am I hurting people? How can I work on that? And there's a lot of ways that can help you. Like this, there's apps. You can go to a therapist and talk to them, talk to your family. Like everyone has a resource, like everywhere. And so like if you want to change about yourself, write the things you're feeling down. Like in like a little notebook, journal. Like there's always ways to fix this up. And if you don't do anything about it, then you're gonna still be this way. So like there's always ways you can always fix yourself.
100%. Yeah, exactly. And I think another big issue too is like with guys, because I feel like no one talks about, obviously like it's a huge issue with girls too, but also I feel like no one really talks about the problems with males either, because they also, I don't think anyone really realizes, like they go through a lot too.
Yeah.
And I had multiple guy friends like texting me, and they would like, they'll tell me sometimes like they don't feel like comfortable with themselves, or they're like, oh, I feel like I looked fat today. And I was like, I'm like like, and I just feel like I feel for them, and I feel really bad because just like similar to mental health, I feel like too, there's not a whole lot of resources for guys in that department because it's very stigmatized. And they're like, oh, guys don't feel this way about themselves, they love their bodies, they're so confident, and that's not necessarily true.
Yeah. You just might act like that too. Like they just kind of act tough. Then when they're in their rooms, they just sit there and just kind of down themselves about it. Like
Yeah.
people can really just change their movements like a little quick, like in 1 second.
Yeah, because it's so easy to judge other people. I mean, your first reaction, like your brain literally when you first see someone, like it automatically judges someone. Whether you
Mm-hmm.
realize it or not, like the second that you see someone, you judge them instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I feel like especially with that, then obviously it's going to be hard not to judge yourself in the
Mm-hmm.
same way. And it's just like it's heartbreaking because
Mm-hmm.
you're like, I wish I could help you.
Mm-hmm.
And like for so many different reasons, I'm like, oh my goodness, like it makes me upset because I'm like, I can give them all the advice in the world that I have, but I can't do it for them. Like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Like
Mm-hmm.
the same type of a thing, and it breaks my heart because
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, sometimes, well, some things also don't work for other people. Like for me personally, I really didn't like my body, and I remember looking in the mirror one time, and it was after I signed my contract to like my first agency, and I was like 12, and so the model coach gave me like a printed out sheet of different ways to build confidence. And one of the things was that like kind of stuck with me was look at yourself in the mirror and point out one thing every day that you like about yourself. And doing that daily kind of helped me in a way. And even if I didn't feel like I liked that part of me or accepted that part of me, I still said it. And then slowly I just said it enough. And I feel like it just kind of spoke itself into existence in a
Mm-hmm.
way. And I was like, okay, maybe I kind of do. And I would try and I would say, like, I like my eyes. Because people used to tell me a lot that they were like, your eyes are so captivating, they're so dark. I'm like, thank you. Um, but I liked my eyes, or I would say I liked my hair, or just something, anything about yourself. And it's like one thing each day. And for me, that kind of helped. But I also stuck with it, and I did it every single day. Because consistency is like my main thing. Because I'm like, if I don't have consistency, I can't. But honestly, sticking with that, like that was kind of how I grew to like my thighs. Like I didn't like them, like at all. And then I was like, I just said it enough, and I was like, okay, maybe I do. Maybe I do.
It doesn't matter of like thinking about it. You're like, okay, well, like I actually like them now. Like it's just a matter of one snappy dislike it. You're like, okay, well, just I guess I like them now. Like It takes time to love yourself.
It does. It does. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was so great to speak with you, Caitlyn. You're amazing. And so happy to have you on. And we'll definitely speak soon for sure. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. Oh my goodness. It was a pleasure.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.